The Chicago Bears take on the Arizona Cardinals at 3:25 p.m. Central in Arizona. Can the Bears bounce back after a devastating loss? Watch this video to hear my thoughts. What's going on, guys? I'm back with another Chicago Bears pregame prediction video, which I'll be doing before every single Bears game this year. And I'm sorry this video is out super late. Usually I get these videos out on Tuesday or Wednesday before the game, but I'll be honest, guys, I needed a mental break after what happened in the last game. I couldn't even stand to think about this team for like 4 or 5 days after that loss because of how brutal it was that we lost on a Hail Mary. I still cannot believe that happened. Okay, I'm not gonna try to get mad in this video, but I had to give myself a breather from even thinking about the Chicago Bears, even as a content creator for the Bears. I still feel the same emotions you guys do, so like I had to, relax for a little bit. But I'm back now. I'm over the last loss. Not entirely, but at least as much as I can be, right? And I'm ready to move on because we have a game tomorrow now. A very winnable game against the Cardinals, and there will be a lot of Bears fans in attendance at this game. It's going to feel like a home game for the Chicago Bears because there are so many Bears fans living in Arizona. A bunch of my friends are going to this game. They're traveling from different states. My manager is going to this game too. Like, it's a very fun game to go to for Bears fans because I feel like there's just so many Chicago people living in Arizona. I mean, they have a damn Portillo's in Arizona because of how many Chicago people are living there. So it really is going to feel like a home game for the Bears. I'm expecting the crowd to be very loud in favor of the Chicago Bears, which is why this is a must win for the Chicago Bears. If you lose this game, I'm basically going to give up hope on the season, okay? Maybe not entirely, but it is going to make it very, very hard to do anything in the second half of the season if you cannot even beat a team like the Arizona Cardinals, okay? This is a must win for the Bears if they want to, have any shot at making the playoffs. And the Cardinals are not as bad of a team as some people think they are because, they're 4-4. I think they're actually tied for first place in their division at this point in time. They're coming off a 2-game winning streak. They won against the Dolphins and the Chargers. They also beat the 49ers earlier this season. So this is not like a horrible bottom of the league team, I would say. Like, they can definitely be scrappy and win some games and stay in games. So this is a game that the Chicago Bears cannot take lightly, especially after what happened in the last game. And they have to really, go in here and focus on bouncing back from the very beginning if they, again, want to have any shot in making the playoffs this year. But talking about the Cardinals, guys, we'll be breaking down both sides of the football for them and talking about the offense first of all. They rank number 18 in points scored per game, number 12 in yards gained per game, number 22 passing offense, number 7 rushing offense. And Kyler Murray presents a big dual threat ability at the quarterback position. He is having a pretty good season in my opinion this year, guys. If you look at his stats, he has 1,638 passing yards, 11 passing touchdowns, only 3 interceptions, barely turning the ball over. He also has 344 rushing yards. So Kyler is a type of quarterback that some people have compared to Caleb Williams, in the opposite way, obviously, because Kyler was already established. Like, people have compared Caleb to Kyler Murray, except just a little bit taller, obviously, because they do have somewhat similar playing styles. Both played in the Lincoln Riley offense. Both went to Oklahoma, at least for a little bit. Caleb Williams did. So, they kind of have the same out-of-pocket playmaking ability, and Kyler is pretty underrated. Okay, a lot of people don't think he's a good quarterback. I still think he's a pretty talented quarterback. Obviously he is pretty small and he has some limitations in the pocket, but so far this year he has been pretty good. So that's a guy that the Bears are going to have to try to keep inside the pocket and not allowed to scramble around and make these fantastic throws on the run. And talking about the run game, guys, the Cardinals run game, that has been extremely effective, and that has been the focal point of the Cardinals offense so far. James Conner has 557 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns, averaging 4.3 yards per carry. Not elite, but still pretty decent, right? And they have been committed to the run. They run the football a good amount every single game. And as I mentioned, their quarterback is also a big rushing threat as well. So it is going to be very important for the Bears to shut down this run game because that is really where the Cardinals offense has like started each game and really finished it too, by pounding the rock. And that's how they win time of possession. That's how they keep the opposing offense off the field, because the Cardinals don't have a good defense. So they have to, play ball control and keep the ball for as long as possible. And it has been working in some of the games they have played. That's why they have 4 wins on the season so far. Even though this has mostly been a running team, they also do have some weapons in the passing attack. They have Trey McBride, the tight end, with 446 receiving yards, leading the team in total yardage. So he's a guy to definitely keep an eye out for. The linebackers of the Chicago Bears are going to have to be playing good ball against him. And they also got Marvin Harrison Jr., obviously, who also has 411 receiving yards. And Marvin Harrison Jr. has been having pretty fantastic games as of late. He's a big-bodied, super athletic guy, very good route runner. I mean, we talked about this guy potentially being a Bear last year when we thought we might have the number 1 and number 2 pick with how bad the Bears were. But yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr. is just like his dad, man, like even better maybe as an athlete, and like he's doing great things for the Cardinals. So that's a guy that, again, the Bears cornerbacks are gonna have to game plan for, because he is a type of receiver that can just go up above you and make a crazy diving catch. I mean, he's that tall and that physical. So that's the Cardinals offense. Talking about the Cardinals defense now, they rank number 24 in points allowed per game, number 27 in yards allowed per game, number 26 pass defense, number 26 run defense. And the reason why they have been so bad, in my opinion, is because they have such a bad defensive line. Like, if you look at the names on their D-line, the average fan would not be able to recognize any of these names. They don't have star-level talent on the defensive line. They only have 15 sacks on the season. They have a very low pressure percentage. They have a very bad run defense, too, so they're getting gashed up the middle. They're, just allowing these gains of 6, 7, 8, 9, 10+ yards on the ground pretty consistently, and that's why the secondary also has been very bad. Okay, the secondary is having to be out there in coverage for so long with how bad the pass rush is. So, hopefully the Bears O-line can take advantage of this pretty weak Cardinals defensive line. They also have the 4th worst defense in EPA per play allowed. They allowed a lot of points to the Green Bay Packers, to the Commanders, to the Bills, and all those teams have pretty good offenses, but even the Chicago Bears, having a pretty, I would say, mediocre offense, should be able to score a good amount of points against this defense, I would hope, okay, with how bad they have been. They just don't have the talent on the team to be a really good defense, even though they have a defensive mind at head coach. There's only so much you can do when you don't have, the high-level talent, and I don't think the Cardinals defense has that high-level talent. Talking about the Chicago Bears now, talk about the offense first of all, and they rank number 15 in points scored per game, number 27 in yards gained per game, number 28 passing attack, and number 19 run game. And the big story with the Bears offense has been that they still struggle so much with starting slow at the beginning of games. Okay, no matter what Shane Waldron does, it seems like we cannot score touchdowns on our opening drive, or really score any points on our opening drives. The first quarter points the Bears have scored have been some of the lowest in the entire NFL. So they have to figure that out, guys. Like, even though we're so good in the second half of games, we have a pretty good 4th quarter offense, which is good. Okay, the fact that we are clutch in the 4th quarter, we have to be good at the beginning of games. Otherwise, the game is going to be out of reach in against certain teams, right? Like against the Cardinals, maybe not, because the Cardinals are not, an elite football team, but down the stretch against teams like the Packers, the Vikings, Lions, like if you go down 0-14, 0-21 at any point, like it's going to be very hard to come back from that against a good team. So, the Bears really have to find a way to get this first quarter, the first 15 plays going into actual production, into actual touchdown scoring. The Bears left tackle situation is pretty scary right now, because both Braxton Jones and Kiran Amegadjie will not be playing in this game. They were both ruled out. So both our starting left tackle and our backup left tackle are not going to be playing in this game. So most likely it is going to be Larry Borom starting at left tackle for the Chicago Bears. And Larry Borom has started a couple games at left tackle for the Bears, but I feel like it has been pretty long since he started at left tackle. He started there a little bit in the preseason and looked pretty good, but we know preseason is only preseason. We can't take away too much from that. So I'm a little bit concerned about how the left tackle situation is going to be in this game. I hope Larry Borom is ready to play. He has not played the entire season because he was injured, and I think he's going to be activated right before this game. So, it's definitely concerning, okay? Protecting Caleb's blind side, but at least the Cardinals pass rush is not that good. Okay, that at least we're not facing off against the Packers in this game. One last thing I want to say about the Bears offense though is that the explosive plays have to start connecting. The Bears rank bottom 5 in explosive play percentage. We're not getting the deep passes of like 15, 20 plus yards. We're barely getting the runs of like 10 plus yards. Now we are kind of, because DeAndre Swift has been a lot better as of late, but Caleb and the Bears receivers really have to start getting on the same page and connecting on these deep plays down the field. It's why our offense is so stagnant at times. It's because we can't connect on those deep bombs of like 30, 40 plus yards, and Caleb's accuracy has to be better. Okay, Caleb definitely 100% has to be better in that aspect, because it's week 9 now, and like he's still struggling with the deep ball. And yes, it's very, very early in his career. Like, I'm not saying he's never going to have a good deep ball, but we got to start connecting on those plays. And I know he can, because he is a very talented quarterback. Talking about the Bears defense, then, they rank number 4 in points allowed per game, number 11 in yards allowed per game, number 11 pass defense, number 14 run defense. And this defense is still so damn good. It's the reason why the Chicago Bears have been in many football games. They currently have the number 1 red zone defense in the NFL. They're only allowing a touchdown 36% of the time in the red zone, and the last game against the Commanders really boosted those numbers, because the Commanders came to the red zone, I believe, 4 times, and we only allowed field goals every single time. Okay, the Commanders did not score a touchdown until the Hail Mary. So the Bears defense is really damn good in the red zone. Like, they're locking in the red zone. They do allow teams to get down to the red zone, more frequently than other teams do, but the fact that we are, so clutch in the red zone does make this Bears defense an elite defense. One injury update though is that Kyler Gordon, will be coming back most likely for this game. He is questionable to play. Jaquan Brisker is out though, so it sucks. Brisker is still out. He's been dealing with a concussion for a long time. Prayers out to him. Hopefully he's going to be fine. But Kyler Gordon, at least, I hope, should be active for this game. And that's going to be a big boost to the Bears secondary, getting their playmaking nickel cornerback. One other update also on the Bears secondary is that Tyreek Stevenson might be benched for this game. I think he will still play. He's just not going to start. And it makes sense, guys. Okay, after what he did in the last game, celebrating before the game was over, okay, taunting the fans, that was a horrible look on Tyreek Stevenson. And as much as I love the guy, I guess it does make sense to discipline him, because that was just a boneheaded type of move, and like that can never happen again if you are Tyreek Stevenson. So I still hope we play him in this game a lot, because he's still one of our best playmakers. I know he's been having a pretty rough start to the season, but he's going to be making some big time picks, some big time plays pretty soon, and I really want him on the field for this game. But I also can't argue against the benching if the Bears are going to bench him at the beginning, because he just made such a boneheaded move in the last game. With that being said, it's time for my 3 keys to the Bears victory. How can the Chicago Bears win this game? And key number 1 is going to be to play with urgency in the 4th quarter. I am begging you, Chicago Bears offense, score some points in the 1st quarter. Score some points on your opening drive. It's going to make the rest of the game so much easier for you. I don't get why we're so bad at the beginning of games. Is it a preparation issue? Is it a play calling issue? Like, whatever it is, figure it out, because if we score points at the beginning, it's going to make it much easier to win this game. Key number 2 is going to be to finish pressures with sacks in this game. Kyler Murray is a very slippery quarterback. Like, he can escape these pressures and turn them into big gains down the field of 20, 30 yards, or just run for the first down. So against a very mobile, athletic quarterback, you have to bring him down into the dirt. Okay, wrap your arms around him and make sure he's actually down, because otherwise he's going to kill you down the field for a big play. And then finally, key number 3 is going to be to stop ignoring Cole Kmet. Every time the Bears don't target Cole Kmet, I feel like the Bears have a bad offensive outing. And it makes sense, because Cole Kmet is one of the best players on this offense. He's a security blanket for Caleb Williams. He works the middle of the field so well. So I don't get why in the last game we only gave him 1 target the entire game. That cannot happen again. Feed Cole Kmet. He's one of the better tight ends in football. He's going to be such a good option for Caleb Williams to go to when he is in trouble. And finally, it's time for my score prediction. Who do I have win this game? And guys, I have the Chicago Bears going on the road against the Cardinals. Beating the Cardinals by a score of 26-17. Yes, I do think it's going to be a pretty nice bounce back win for the Chicago Bears, because even though we complained about this team so much the last week, I do think they have enough talent to beat a team like the Arizona Cardinals. If you look at the Bears' defensive talent, this is a pretty damn good defense. Okay, I think we can hold the Cardinals to not scoring a whole bunch of points because of how good this defense has been in the red zone, with how they're getting pressure on the quarterback. I think we can get a good amount of pressure on Kyler Murray in this game, because they do have young players on the offensive line, a young left tackle, Pierce Johnson Jr., who has been doing pretty good, obviously, but like there will be opportunities to get pressure on Kyler Murray and force him into some turnovers. And I think Caleb and the offense will have a bounce back game in this one. Okay, the Cardinals defense is not good. And yes, the Bears offense has not been good against the top defenses, but the Cardinals are a bottom 5, bottom 10 defense. So against those defenses, the Bears have proven they can score a lot of points. We scored, 30 plus against the Panthers and the Jaguars. So, I'm not predicting 30 plus just because of how bad the Bears were in the last game, but I do think scoring 26 is very reasonable, and, hopefully it happens. As for my offense MVP, I'm going to be going with Rome Odunze again. I think I selected Rome Odunze for the last game too, but obviously the whole offense was bad in that game. But I think that in this game, Rome has the potential to really go off, because he's been one of the Bears' best route runners in the last couple weeks. Like, he's been better, honestly, than Keenan Allen. DJ Moore has been pretty good, but like he's been almost on par sometimes with DJ Moore in his route running. He's just not getting the ball for whatever reason. So I hope that we finally feed Rome Odunze in this game. I'm gonna predict 100 receiving yards and 1 receiving touchdown for Rome Odunze. As for my defense MVP, I'm going to be going with Darrell Taylor. Okay, a pretty random pick, but Darrell Taylor has been one of the best pass rushers in the entire NFL so far this year. So I think that, working on that right side, he can get, hopefully a sack and maybe a forced fumble as well. Leave your comments down below, guys. What do you guys think is going to happen in this game? I swear, if the Bears lose this game, like, there will be no hope left on the season. This is a must win for the Chicago Bears, especially because there's going to be so many Bears fans in attendance. So if you're going to this game, I hope you have a lot of fun, be loud, cheer for the Bears, and hopefully we get a win. I'll be back with my post-game reaction on Sunday evening. Leave your comments down below. As always, bear down.